Okay, so we're gonna get started. I'm recording this Zoom lesson. So we're gonna talk about adding and subtracting polynomials. So first, I wanna make sure we understand what a polynomial is. So basically, a polynomial is an algebraic expression, just like we did expressions in regular algebra A. It's an expression with constants. It could also be like variables, um, with coefficients, etc. So beautiful. You're just gonna go ahead and listen right now. I'm recording this, and then I'll talk to you, okay, in a minute.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go ahead and record this. So again, a polynomial is basically an algebraic expressions made of many terms, and normally they're separated by a plus or subtraction or multiplying or dividing. So that's what a polynomial is. And we are going to be focusing about, we're going to be focusing adding two or maybe three polynomials or subtracting one, subtracting two polynomials or maybe three polynomials. But actually, we're only going to start with polynomials. So, Liana, I'm recording this. Just go ahead and listen to this recording. And then if you have any questions, I'll ask you guys. So let me make up a polynomial. We're first going to start with the example of adding polynomials. So let me go ahead and, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to make this polynomial 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. Okay. And I'm going to put parentheses to indicate that this is one polynomial. So how do I know this is polynomial? Well, this is an algebraic expression made of many terms. Usually they're separated by a plus, minus, multiplying, or dividing. But right now, the examples I'm going to put is adding or subtracting. Basically, they're going to be separating by addition or subtracting, okay? So this is one term separated by this minus, another term separated by this plus, with this other term. So this is a trinomial. This is what we call trinomials, but this is a polynomial. Okay, it's just a trinomial is a specific polynomial. All right, so this is one polynomial, but I'm gonna add it to another polynomial. I'm gonna put negative 6x squared and minus 3. Okay, so this is an example of adding two polynomials. Okay, they're usually separated by this parenthesis. If there was no adding in between those two parentheses, that would mean that you will have to multiply it. But because there's an adding in between it, that means you're adding the polynomials. So this is actually fairly easy. This is a continuation of algebra A, but it's going to be longer. Okay, this example, because of the limited space that I have, is not as long, but in the examples that you're going to have in your assignments, they're probably going to be a little longer. So this is just an example, just so I can illustrate how to do it. So this is what you do. Okay, I'm going to combine anything that has like terms. Like terms means this. Okay, like terms is when you're adding or subtracting. Now, when you're multiplying or dividing, okay, combining again is adding or subtracting. The signs are going to tell you what to do. Okay, so first of all, let's take care of this right here on this side. So whenever you have a plus, okay, whenever you're adding a polynomial, nothing's going to change. So basically, I'm just going to rewrite it, okay, just for illustrating. I'm just rewriting the first one. So nothing, I'm not doing nothing yet, because I just want to show you that whenever you have a plus, you don't need to do anything. You just need to remove the stuff out. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm gonna, because there's a negative right here. Instead of the negative, I'm gonna put, instead of the plus, I'm gonna put the -6 because I don't want to have two signs next to each other. Or you can just think about the rules that we learned at the beginning. When you have a positive next to a negative, it just becomes a negative. So let me just erase that part, this part right here. So a plus next to a negative is just gonna be negative. So really, I'm just gonna rewrite whatever's inside the parentheses. That's what the little plus means, just nothing. Nothing's gonna change inside the parentheses, just gonna remove that plus and copy everything inside the parentheses. And I'm doing this, it doesn't make probably sense to you. Why are you doing that? Why are you rewriting that? Because that's gonna change when we do subtracting, okay? All right, so now all we did is rewrote everything. So the little plus doesn't mean anything, just remove and rewrite everything that's inside the parentheses. Just the same way it was inside. Now, like terms means they have to have the same letters with the same power, okay? So this x squared is the same family as this x squared. You cannot combine this x squared with this x. Why not? Because this is x squared and this is x to the first power. So they're not alike, okay? So because these are alike, I'm going to combine this -6. Remember to include the sign in front of it. So we have a +3 and a -6. So when you combine, okay, combine means you're adding and subtracting. The signs are going to tell you what to do. What do you do when you have a positive and a negative? Damn it, I don't think you're on, you're not, okay, there you go. Okay, so when you have a positive and a negative, I don't know what happened to Liam, but Liam was here for like 1 minute. Okay, so we have a positive and a negative. So when you're combining, okay, that means you're not multiplying or dividing because those are different rules. Okay, when you're combining, you are going to be, and you're combining opposite signs, basically you subtract. So 6 minus 3 is 3. Okay, but you have to carry the sign of the larger number, which is the negative. And then just keep the same family, the same term, the same like term. Okay, so we took care of that one. Now I'm going to, is there anything that has, is there another family of X? Is there another family of X to the first power? Hey, Leon, I'm glad you're back. Hey, Leon, over here. I know you just joined it, but I know you probably know this answer. Okay, so we're combining like terms. So we already combined the X squares. Okay, is there another family right here that you see that's alike with the X? Is there another X in this expression?
Yeah.
Where's the X? The other X. Okay, I got the -2X. Is there another X?
At a -6x.
No, that's X squared. So
Oh,
they're not alike.
wait, so no.
Huh?
No.
Okay. So and the reason I ask you is because that's a common mistake. People say, oh, okay, that's an X. No, that's an X squared. So when you're combining, you could do that when you're multiplying. So if you were to multiply -2X times -6X squared, you could do that when you're multiplying. That would just become +12X to the third power. But when you're combining, that means you're not multiplying or dividing. They have to be alike. Okay. So no, you cannot, there's no other X, so I'm just gonna carry it. So there's nothing I could do with a -2X. So just bring it down. So I'm just gonna bring it down. Is there another number besides the -3? Like a family number, like no variables?
No.
Nope. So because of that, you can do nothing about it. So you're just gonna carry it to the answer. So that's it. The answer is -3x squared negative 2x, negative 3. Good. All right. So now let's do a subtraction one. Okay. It's going to be almost identical. It's going to be the same procedure, except one thing that you need to do before you start combining things. Okay. So pay attention to this. I know some of you come in here, and I'm not saying you guys, but I know in other classes, I noticed that students come in, log in, and then they take off and do other things, and they're not listening to this. And then they wonder why they're having trouble. Okay, but this is for your benefit. So I'm gonna create a problem here. So I'm gonna create a polynomial. So I'm gonna put 2a to the 5th. I don't want to make it too long because I don't have a lot of space. Minus 4a squared minus a. Okay, just a. All right, I'm going to put parentheses just to indicate that's one polynomial, and I'm going to subtract another polynomial. So in this one, I'm just going to create something that has 5a squared minus 10a plus 10. So this is a polynomial. This is another polynomial. All right. So what you're gonna do is almost identical, except so I'm gonna rewrite this. I don't know if you can hear my dog barking, but my little puppy, she's loud. She's outside. So that just comes out. Now this is going to be different than that. With the little plus, you can just ignore the plus and just rewrite everything inside the parentheses the same way. So the negative 6 stays as negative 6 squared, and the negative 3 stays the same. Okay, that's how you take care of the plus, the adding. For the subtraction, you got to change the sign inside. So inside the parentheses, you're going to change to the opposite sign. So this is a positive a positive a squared. So that's going to become a negative 5a squared minus 10a. So the opposite of negative 10a is going to be positive. So basically you're changing the sign inside. So this was positive, that became negative. This was negative, that's going to become positive 10a. And what do you think is the last one? Since it's positive 10. Anybody?
Can you repeat that?
Okay. So what do you think is the last one? So if when we have when we're subtracting polynomials, you're going to change the sign of each term inside the parentheses. So this is plus. What is that going to become?
Subtraction.
So that's how you take care of the subtractions. So whatever's inside the parentheses, change the signs. This was positive, make it negative. This was negative, make it positive. This was positive, make it negative. Let me just illustrate this with an arrow. So that's what the negative made it. For the positive, notice that we just copied it. It stays the same. Stays the same. We just remove the positive. For negative, you have to change the sign. This was negative. Okay. All right, so we're not done. So now we have to combine like terms. Anything that's alike, they have to have the same variable with the same power. Okay, so we have an 8. I know it's kind of hard to see, but 8 to the 5th and we don't have another a to the fifth. That's a to the second. Okay, so there's nothing you could do with a to the fifth. That's going to stay the same because there's not another thing that's a to the fifth. So that's going to stay the same. You cannot combine that one. Okay, there's a negative 4a to the second, and there's a negative 5a to the second. So those are alike because they're a to the second. Okay, so we have a negative 4 and a negative 5. When the signs are the same, you add and keep the same sign. So it's gonna be negative 9, and a to the second stays the same. Okay, we only do that. We only change it when we're multiplying. This is combining. Combining means adding or subtracting. The signs let you know what to do. And then we have a negative a and a positive 10a. They're both a to the first power, so they are like. There's an invisible 1, so we got a negative 1 and a positive 10. Opposite signs we subtract, so it's going to be 9, and we carry the sign of the larger number, which is positive. And what is the alike term? The a. And then we have a constant, just a number. There's no other number by itself, so that's just going to be carried down. And there's nothing you can combine because everything is not alike anymore. This is a to the fifth, a to the second, a to the first, and a number. So you're done. Cool. I think Beautiful left because I think she's not in this class, but it's cool. So I'm gonna stop the video right now because basically that's the main course of this week. Of course, there's more videos, and I put a lot of like Edpuzzle videos so you can watch them before you do the assignments. I believe I did that. Let me check. So let me stop the recording right now. And this